Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm going to be blocking and joining granny squares for a blanket. I have a video on my channel where I make these beautiful daisy granny squares, so if you're interested, be sure to check that out. So I have a blocking board here, and I'm first checking to see where I want to place my granny squares and how much I want to stretch them out. Then I'm going to be spraying each square with some water before I place it on my board. This will help my yarn stretch and keep its shape. And this to me wasn't really looking as good as it could, so I decided to move these pins one space over. And that's looking better now. So I'm just repeating this with all of my granny squares, spraying them with some water and placing them on top of each other with the pins in each corner. This is great to do to make sure that all of your stitches will align before attaching your granny squares, and is especially helpful if your tension can slightly vary from time to time while crocheting. And I leave them to dry and set into place overnight. I came back the next day to remove my granny squares, and now I'm ready to attach them. I'm going to be placing my squares next to each other and placing one on top of the other so that the correct side of each square is touching. This way, when I flip them back out, we'll have the correct side facing up. I'm getting my yarn ready and I'm pulling it through the corners on the upper right side of my squares. Then I tie a knot to secure. I insert my hook into that corner, pull my yarn through, and then I chain one to secure. And I'm making one single crochet into that same corner space. So I insert my hook, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through both loops on my hook. Next, I'm lining up my stitches from both of my squares, and I'm going to be slip stitching them together from the outer loops. So I'm inserting my hook into the outer loop of my first square and then the outer loop of my second square. I yarn over and pull through those two loops and continue pulling through that last loop on my hook to do my slip stitch. And I'm going to repeat that all along this edge of these two squares until I get to my next corner. So again, I'm inserting my hook into the outer loop of the stitch of the first square, then this outer loop from the second square, and creating a slip stitch. Now I'm at my corner space and I'm going to make a single crochet. Now I'll be connecting these two squares to my next two squares, and I already have some connected, so to add these two on, I'm going to just line up the stitches of my next two squares and do another single crochet into that corner space. Then you want to repeat the process of creating a slip stitch into the outer loops. You can continue this process for however long you want your blanket or your project to be. These are going to be my last 2 squares for the length, so once I've gotten to that corner space, I'm doing a single crochet. And then to fasten it off, I'm chaining 1, which will create a nice knot. Then I take my scissors to cut my yarn and pull the yarn through. I'm leaving a long tail so that I can weave it in later. So this is what I have so far, and I'm going to follow the same process of doing a slip stitch into the outer loops and a single crochet into the corners to attach the granny squares vertically, and then attach more horizontally as well until I have my desired blanket size. Here is my blanket, and now I'll be adding on a border. I'm going to do a scalloped border edge with some white yarn. I'm first going to do single crochets all around my blanket to make everything more even. I did this first with my pink yarn and then decided to repeat the process now with my white yarn. So to attach your yarn, you can pull it through the corner and first tie a knot. I'm inserting my hook into the stitches on the corner because I'm repeating this process a second time. Then insert your hook into that corner space and yarn over and pull through. Then chain 1 to secure. Into that corner space, you can make 3 single crochet. You'll be doing 3 single crochet into the corner of the blanket and then a single crochet along the edges into each stitch. If you run into areas where your squares are uneven where they join, you can try doing a half double crochet instead of a single crochet, which will help to add more length. Now I've made my way all around my blanket, and I'm going to continue going around, so I'm not going to join anything with a slip stitch. Instead, I'm going to skip 2 stitches and make 7 double crochet into the next stitch. So this is 1, 2, here's 3, 4, this is my 5th double crochet, 6, and 7. Then I skip 2 more stitches and in the next stitch do a single crochet. Then I skip 2 more stitches and in that next stitch do 7 more double crochet. And I repeat that process all the way around. So I do 7 double crochet into the same stitch, skip 2, do a single crochet into that next stitch, skip 2, and do 7 double crochet into that next stitch. I've made my way all the way around, and I'll be joining this last scallop edge to my first one. I just finished doing my 7 double crochet, so now I'm going to do a single crochet into the stitch where my next scallop starts. Then I chain 1 to create a little knot and secure. I'm pulling that tight and then using scissors to cut my yarn and leave a generous tail to be able to weave in later. And there is my blanket. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.